So hi guys, Tim and Toby back in the episode 6, the next instalment of how Germany was winning the war. And now this episode 6, we'll be looking at the failed Allied raid on Dieppe, or just called the Dieppe raid, in August 1942, or specifically the 19th of August 1942. Now if you go back actually 2 years earlier to May 1940, Germany has quickly overran France with all its might and blitzkrieg powers, invaded France in May 1940. So, for 4 years France was basically under the German jackboot. So the Allied soldiers, Canada, America, especially Britain, as France was an ally mainly to Britain, they wanted to try to do something about this basically massive weight on France's shoulders. So in August 1942, Canada, America and Britain come up with their numbers to try and basically land a unit or multiple units on a coast in France to quickly overpower Germany, or the German coastal guards, and try and bring the pressure off France, which was a complete and utter waste of lives, essentially. Basically, to cut a long story short, in the whole of it, there was a big massacre. America, with all their men, only had two casualties, which is interesting. Britain had roughly about just over 500 men, casualties that is, and Canada, which is the majority of what people normally think of on the raid of Dieppe, they had about 907 roughly casualties at Dieppe, and you see some very famous photos of Canadian scout cars, patrol cars, and everything just littered across the whole Dieppe beach as well. And just then, after the failed raid, when the men actually got back, they, from 1942 up until, of course, 6th of June 1944, it was from then on, in 1942, they wanted to try and decide on a massive, huge frontal assault of a coast in France, basically. So that's when they started to, get their thinking caps on and think about D-Day, Deliverance Day, Operation Overlord, and the Normandy beach assault. So Toby, do you want to continue the story?
Yes, so Dieppe for the Germans really provided a massive propaganda boost, because on the Eastern Front, Stalingrad kind of time, things weren't going too well, to be honest. They were beginning to slow down. So this provided, almost a mini Dunkirk, so they could move all of their, cameras around and look at all the absolute desolation that was going on the beach. One of the reasons it failed was shingle, pretty much, and it messed up all of the tracks of tanks and everything, so the very first Churchill tanks were used, and I think, all of them were abandoned, and then captured subsequently. The real flaw of the plan was attacking a very heavily fortified port head-on. Now, the defensive fire from ports, or the German army kind of dock, would be from Kriegsmarine troops, mostly, in terms of artillery, because they made their own kind of artillery emplacements with the very heavy range-fire kinds of stuff made out of concrete. And that really dates back to kind of the First World War, where it was more the Navy's job to keep the coast clear. However, of course, the Wehrmacht also got involved, and also even the SS. Several units were actually recuperating from the Eastern Front in France, like Leibstandarte, 1st SS, and were very nearly called forward to help this be beaten back. So, I'll hand you back over to Tim.
Right, thanks Toby. So you can kind of class as Dieppe, as Toby explained, a mini Dunkirk. Without doing this, essentially, without, getting a couple thousand men killed, sadly, they wouldn't have been planning a massive frontal assault on, well, what is now, years in the future, D-Day, frontal assault the Armada of D-Day. If D-Day hadn't have happened, if Dieppe hadn't have happened, D-Day hadn't have happened. Yes, there would have been a big, massive frontal assault, but really there wouldn't have been planning stages as early as 1942 for the Normandy invasion. So it's you have to kind of think of it that way as well. So as I say, yeah, it was a massive morale boost for the tired and weary soldiers, who were stuck in Russia in the bitterly cold climate. So, Toby, is there anything before I wrap the video up you want to add?
I don't think so. Yeah, I'll hand you back to Tim to end the video.
Right, okay, thanks, Toby. Thanks for watching, guys, in this episode. The next episode will be episode 7, and that will be it'll be it's kind of 50-50, essentially. We're mainly looking at the first half of the Italian campaign, where the German invasion of Italy, and then, of course, the other 50% is them slowing down, so we're only going to be looking at the first 50% in the next episode. Episode 7. So, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.